Hi, this is Tisch Aitken, and it is Saturday, February 8th, 2025. We have very powerful astrology right now, a lot of twists and turns and surprising energy, and a lot of Piscean energy, which makes you want to dream and delve into the subconscious and maybe perhaps escape a little bit. So let's break down what's recently happened. We had Jupiter, the luckiest planet, stationed direct on February 4th, and it's stationed at 11 degrees and 16 minutes of the mutable air sign of Gemini. We feel the station 5 days before and 5 days after. And Jupiter is in its detriment in Gemini. It's very scattered, but it's still good news that we have the planet of good fortune direct. And maybe you got some good news, some opportunities. Jupiter can open doors, and it's going to remain in the sign of Gemini through June 9th, when it then ingresses into the cardinal water sign of Cancer, where it's in its exaltation and loves to be. But it is good news that Jupiter is direct, and that could bring a big burst of communication because Gemini is the sign of news and communication and information. So a lot of things getting uncovered. And then we had Neptune meet up with the North Node of Karma yesterday on February 7th at 28 degrees and 9 minutes of the mutable water sign of Pisces. This is the last degrees of Pisces because 29 degrees of Pisces is not only the last degree of a sign, 29 degrees is the last degree of any sign, but in this case of the zodiac, because Pisces is the final sign, the 12th sign of the zodiac. So this was just a degree off from the complete zodiac and of the ending. This is also connected with a fixed star known as Shiat, Scheat. I talk about it a lot. It's connected with misfortune and self undoing and feeling lost at sea and helpless. But it also is very strong in the charts of empaths and artists and creative people that really help others worse off than themselves rather. And if you think of it, if you're going to go to the higher or lower vibration of any sign or any planet, we all have choices here. And that higher expression would be understanding the pain and challenges one goes through, the vulnerability, the sensitivity, but also the dreams and selflessness and love that can be accomplished by helping other people and connecting on a soul based level. The North Node of Karma ingressed into Pisces on January 12th rather, of this year, where it will be transiting through July 27th of 2026. The North Node of Karma is where you want to be going towards. In Pisces, it's embracing the imagination, working with the subconscious brain, working with different healing modalities, journaling, manifesting, being creative, listening to music. As I mentioned in one of my other videos last week, when the concert Fire Aid occurred, there was a tremendous stellium of planets both in Aquarius and in Pisces. And that really is the hybrid of this initial phase of the new age of Aquarius, which will go on far longer than both Saturn or Neptune will transit in the sign of Pisces. They're going to leave late winter of next year, February, March of next year. They're leaving. They're leaving next winter. However, they've been a part of this initial leg of the Pluto in Aquarius tour, and that is about death and rebirth and evolving your consciousness with Pluto and Aquarius. This is definitely rebirthing yourself in many ways you never imagined possible. This is, energetic resets and higher frequencies, and sometimes really not knowing what you're capable of. in terms of community, in terms of tapping into your own genius, your own individuality. But Aquarius is interesting in that it is a sign that represents groups and community and finding people that are like-minded, finding your tribe, but being an individual in the tribe, giving your own individual spark of genius and creativity, because ingenuity is creative, right? And with the Pisces part of it, this is about compassion. This is about working with your psychic and intuitive ability. This is trying to find faith in a very broken world. The lower or more challenging vibration would be the chaos that ensues with the Aquarian energy, which is very defined because when the sun entered Aquarius, which it did on January 19th, anytime a planet or the sun ingresses into Aquarius for the next 19 years or so, they will inevitably meet up with Pluto at some point because Pluto is now transiting in Aquarius. It's no longer in Capricorn. Those old systems and structures and old ways of doing things, rules and regulations and people in authority, that's changed a lot. This is about the future. This is not about the past. And the sun and Pluto met up on January 21st, rather, and that set the tone for the new year. And then we had a new moon in Aquarius on January 29th, and that was at 9 degrees and 51 minutes of the fixed air sign of Aquarius. And early that morning, Mercury met up with Pluto, the planet of transformation and empowerment, releasing old blocking, limiting beliefs, limiting ideology, learning more about technology, more about how you can grow your network in many different ways, both locally. And I think that's Jupiter and Gemini beckoning us to say, hey, it may be in its detriment, but in order to focus on mental health and building yourself, you want to be global and you want to think of the big, big vision, infinite vision with Pluto and Aquarius of how we can come together, how we can educate ourselves and others. But coming together locally, the mom and pop shops that are suffering with Jupiter and Gemini, people not wanting to go out as much due to anxiety, which the Aquarian energy, I mean, since that new moon on January 29th, Uranus, which is the modern ruler of Aquarius, stationed direct on the following day in the sign of Taurus, 23 degrees of Taurus. And that, we feel that energy 5 days before and 5 days after. I had a lot of trouble sleeping after that. And now we have more Uranian energy. Mercury is transiting in the sign of Aquarius, where it'll be through February 14th. And it is exalted, it is brilliant, it is inventive there. But let's see what we're dealing with this weekend. So we've got, we had the beautiful Neptune North Node conjunction, and that was at 28 degrees and 9 minutes. Neptune is the dream. It is boundless. It rules the ocean. It is infinite. Saturn will meet up with the North Node of Karma later in the spring on April 21st at 26 degrees and 51 minutes of the mutable water sign of Pisces. Saturn is grounding. It contracts, but it also brings things together. It's the reality of how can you anchor those connections. The nodes of fate can represent fated connections that can help you on your journey, whether it's a new job opportunity, a new relationship, a new connection in some way, a new client, whatever it may be for you. With Mars retrograde, it's not ideal to start a new job, but a lot of people are in that position right now. It's almost direct as of February 23rd. It's going to station direct at 17 degrees and 1 minute of Cancer, which it entered on October 2nd, which is when the solar eclipse occurred in Libra. That was the final eclipse in Libra. And Mars won't clear its shadow altogether until May 2nd, meaning it gets to 6 degrees at 11 minutes of Leo, where it initially retrograded on December 6th. So we want to work of when it, we look at both of those degrees, and then Mars will leave the sign of Leo altogether on June 6th. But, this is a big time of reevaluating how it can be effective. Venus is technically in its shadows, so it's not retrograde yet, but your appearance, your creativity, your creative endeavors, getting things going now, if you want to, I don't know, if you're doing something like that, if you're doing a big investment, if you're planning on investing in something and spending a lot of money, think cautiously of that, because Venus is technically in its shadow. It will be retrograde from March 1st through April 12th. It will not clear its shadow until May 16th, when it then gets past 10 degrees and 50 minutes of Aries, and it remains in the sign of Aries through June 6th, actually. Yeah. So it's going to be there a while. So knowing that, it is direct right now, but it is in its shadow, we're going to have a very small window from the 23rd of February through the 28th, when all of the planets are direct. That would be a time to target things, because Mars, although it hasn't cleared its shadow, is not retrograde. Venus hasn't retrograded yet, etc., etc. And, there's a lot of chaotic energy, because we're going to have Mercury squaring Uranus, and that occurs, let's see, on the 9th of February, and that's going to be at oh no, that's on the 10th of February rather, and that's going to be at 2:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We can feel that energy before it's exact. We always feel Uranus before it hits. That's ingenious, inventive, but it could be changes in plans that could uncover things. There could be unexpected breaks or changes of directions in what you were doing professionally. The Sun squares Uranus on the 11th of January at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. More twists and turns. We feel Uranus before it's exact, so you start feeling that Sunday, Monday. It can raise your anxiety. It can make you very inventive. So if you feel that adrenaline where you're kind of rushing to do things, go for it. It can make you very creative and thinking outside of the box. And we're going to have a full moon in Leo, and I'll talk more about that on Tuesday, because I'm feeling the jolts and twists and turns right now. But we're going to have a full moon that occurs at 8:53 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 24 degrees and 6 minutes of the fixed fire sign of Leo, and that will also square Uranus. So, again, some things that, bringing changes, bringing the unexpected, instability. Stability is not where it's at right now with Aquarian and Uranian energy. But it can be that sometimes things that you're being complacent about, it might be even more exciting and better than you thought. It gets you out of your complacency. And sometimes that's a very beneficial part of Uranus. I found that with Uranus cycles I've experienced in my own life. It brought big changes that at the time felt jolting, but really were not that dramatic or traumatic. They ended up getting me out of something that maybe I would not have gotten out of otherwise, because I can be a little stubborn, like a lot of people. So it can get you or make you see things in a way that you never have before, and you're like, this is even better than I thought. That's the potential and the promise of Aquarius, working with dreams and magic. Well, there is a lot of chaos, there's a lot of uncertainty right now, there are a lot of things that are very cloudy right now, but with the Pisces part of it, trying to work with your calling. What are you being called to do that brings love and value to the world, with the North Node and Neptune coming up in a very broken world that needs healing? What is it with Venus retrograding? What do you want to create? What do you love? Life is short. What do you want to do? And So there are big possibilities, really, what do you want to learn? It's elevating your consciousness. This is a very exciting time. And knowing that at the end of the month, we're going to have a new moon at the end of February, and then that marks the beginning of eclipse season. I really feel we start to feel the eclipse season as of this full moon on the 12th, because that's going to be a month before the lunar eclipse that falls at 23 degrees and 56 minutes of Virgo, of the mutable earth sign of Virgo. This defaults back to the lunar eclipse that occurred on September 17th at 25 degrees and 40 minutes of Pisces. It's within 2 degrees of it, but setting that story off, setting off where Venus will station direct on April 12th at 24 degrees and 38 minutes of Pisces. And when Mercury is going to retrograde in the middle of March, it's going to retrograde initially at 9 degrees and 36 minutes of Aries, but that too will go from Aries to Pisces, like the eclipses, Aries to Pisces. It'll be at 9 degrees and 36 minutes of Aries. And then when Mercury does station direct on April 7th, it will be at 26 degrees and 49 minutes of Pisces. So close to that 24 to 26 degrees of Pisces. This is something we're working with since last fall when we had that lunar eclipse. Letting go of fears so you can create magic. Tapping into all the instability, but the ingenuity. You got to go with it. You've got to be more flexible now. It's fast, fixed change in a second. I wish you a lot of luck. Try to be inventive right now. Focus on what you want to create. It's going to be a really busy few months. Know that. And doing some journaling with that Neptune North Node energy that's still very strong. And then Saturn and the North Node will meet up again on April 21st at 26 degrees and 51 minutes of Pisces. Again, close to where the eclipses have been occurring starting in September, close to where Venus and Mercury will be stationing direct later in the spring. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.